Okay, we're going to talk about special right triangles. These are special right triangles. And the reason that they are special is because of their angles. This triangle, I'm going to make it a little more exaggerated. Has alright, we're just going to call it that. Oh, this is annoying. I'm going to use this. This triangle has an angle of 30 degrees here and 60 degrees here. These are the side lengths. A triangle with a 30, can I write? 30, 60, 90 right triangle always has side lengths that are in the ratio of 1 to 2 to radical 3. That's always true. So for instance, if I took 4.67 and multiplied by radical 3, I would get 8.09. Let's just show you that. Actually, I'll do it right on this program. Go away. Go away. If I go measure, calculate. Oh, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? Where does it say calculate? I used to be able to do this. Oh, they changed it on me. It's under calculate. If I take this side and I say times square root 3, I get 8.09. Where did it just show me that? 8.09, which is exactly the length of this side. So these ratios are always true. No matter how big I make this triangle, no matter what the shape is, notice how this side times root 3 always gives me this side. And also true is that the side opposite the 30, the 5.21, is half of the hypotenuse. So if we look at this triangle, we can deduce that the sine of 30 equals, in this case, 5.21 over 10.43. But if you do on the calculator 5.21 divided by 10.43, the sine of 30 is actually 0.5. In other words, 1 over 2. If we always remember that the sides of a 30, 60, 90 go 1 to root 3, with the 2 being the hypotenuse, we can find the sine, cosine, and tangent of 30, 60, and 90 very easily. Cosine of 30 is adjacent, root 3, over 2. And the tangent of 30 is opposite over adjacent, which is 1 divided by root 3. And remember, you can't have a radical in the denominator, so we multiply by root 3 over root 3, and we get root 3 over 3. Same is true for 60. The cosine of 60 is adjacent, which is 1 over hypotenuse. Cosine of 60 equals a half. The sine of 60 is opposite over hypotenuse, which is root 3 over 2. And the tangent of 60 is opposite over adjacent, which is root 3. This is always true. For instance, if I do calculate the sine of 30, notice it tells me 0.5. That's always true. That will never change, ever. This triangle over here is a 45, 45, 90. So here's your right angle. These two sides are congruent. As you can see, they're both 7.96. And their sides are always in the ratio of 1, 1, radical 2. So for instance, again, if I take my calculator, measure, calculate, and I multiply this side by the square root of 2, it's going to give me the hypotenuse. Why didn't it do that? Square root 2. The The hypotenuse is 11.26 because it's radical 2 times one of the sides. So again, if we think about the trig functions here, think about 45. What's the side opposite? 1. What's the hypotenuse? Root 2. So the sine of 45 equals 1 over the square root of 2, which when you rationalize it, multiply by root 2 over root 2, you get root 2 over 2. What's the cosine of 45? It's the same thing. The adjacent over the hypotenuse is still 1 over root 2. So sine of 45 and cosine of 45 are both root 2 over 2. The tangent of 45 is opposite, which is 1, over adjacent, which is 1. Tangent of 45 is just 1. Now, if you memorize these triangles, then you don't have to memorize what's on the next screen. But if you don't memorize those triangles, then you do need to memorize this. Here are all the functions we just talked about. Sine of 30 is a half, cosine of 30 is root 3 over 2, tangent of 30 is root 3 over 3. You will have, let me say this again, you will have a pop quiz on this table exactly like this next class. It's going to be worth 100 points. You have to memorize these 9 functions. And don't just memorize the way the table looks. I really want you to memorize the sine of 30 is a half, cosine of 30 is root 3 over 2, tangent of 30 is root 3 over 3, sine of 45 is root 2 over 2. This will help you immensely moving forward into the rest of trig. You have to know these 9 things. Okay? In addition, you have to know 3 more things. There are 3 more terms, and they are called secant, cosecant, cotangent. Those are called reciprocal functions. Reciprocal functions. And all they mean is 1 over their reciprocal. So cotangent's pretty easy. It's 1 over the tangent. So for instance, if the tangent equals 3/4, the cotangent would equal 4/3. You just flip it over. Cosecant, you would think it goes along with cosine, but it's exactly the opposite of what you think. Cosecant is 1 over sine, secant is 1 over cosine. All I can tell you is to think that because they're reciprocal, they're the opposite of what you think. Except for cotangent, that one's obvious. But these two are the opposite of what you think. You'd think secant goes with sine, but it really goes with cosine. Memorize those, but those will not be on your pop quiz. This is what your pop quiz will be right here. This exact table. So please study. Have a good day.